Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen up, ladies and gentlemen. Huge turbo news, okay? We have been the highest rising coin in the top 200 coins in the market. Do you understand that? Turbo is number one in the biggest pumps on the weekly when it comes to the top 200 coins. That is some serious competition. I understand not every coin can, have those types of numbers because some coins are at a much higher market cap, right? So, for example, Sui right now, let's say hypothetically it already started at like 11 billion market cap. It going up 120% to like what would be roughly 23 billion or whatever. That would take a lot of money, right? That would be very impressive. Sui going up 56% in the last 7 days, considering its market cap, is very impressive. But when we talk about pure percentages, people, we are literally number one, right? And the crazy thing is, it's like there are so many other coins that, will eventually be pumping a lot. But as of right now, Turbo is taking the spotlight. And I believe Turbo is seriously undervalued. We talked about how I believe Turbo will be a top 10 meme coin. We'll be battling for it. We used to say how it might be top five, but then Trump kind of came out and we already thought, the fifth place is going to be really hard to overtake, and then he kind of just stole the show. But whatever, being in the top 10 is an achievement, right? At the end of the day, being a top 10 meme coin, being one of the biggest coins is an achievement because you got to realize Turbo's only gonna be 2 years old on the 29th, right? 4 days from now, Turbo's gonna be 2 years old, but yet we are gonna be doing much better in the markets and have been than literally most coins, all the coins, in fact, in the last week. So, you know, this is very impressive. This is just a sign of the future. Now, obviously, you can't expect this every single week. The only time I would say maybe you could expect these kind of pumps every single week where it pumps a large amount is during the peak of altcoin season right before bear season, right? Because that's usually what happens. We pump a couple of weeks and then we crash and sell off hard. And then maybe we get a double pump, but that is up for debate. And we will only be thinking about that and concerned about that when the time comes. But look, top one, literally number one out of the top 200. Impressive, okay? The next other meme coin, Trump coin at 57%, Pengu, 56, this AI 55, we got Popcat at 54, Bread at 55. So nothing really compares to Turbo, okay? We are the only coin in the triple digits, right? Everything else is double digits. So very impressive. Very impressive. I do, though, expect short term for Turbo to drop a little bit. Now, do not worry, right? Do not worry. First of all, I just want to say this pump was insane. Okay. This pump was insane. It's not something I expected to happen within a week. Did I believe this pump was going to happen? Yes, but I thought it was going to happen over the span of 3 to 4 weeks, but it literally happened within the span of a week. Now, here's the deal. We are getting closer to the weekly candle closing. And like I did say before, I really want this candle to practically close, above this bottom green box, right? Just closing above 0.0032 would be the most ideal. Now, I do expect this coin to drop off a little bit because, ladies and gentlemen, right, when we go on something like the 4 hour time frame, we can see that we are creating lower highs each time, right? We see we're creating lower highs. We can also see there was a 4 hour rejection over here. And when we go into it and we look at it, we can see 30-minute institutional candle, price action goes right into it. If we go even on the more, specific lower time frame, we can see this is the last kind of demand zone, right? We tap into it, we create lower highs on the 15-minute, we keep selling off. Now, if this coin is super bullish, then and Bitcoin pumps, then I could see continuation pumps. But I truly do believe, if there is going to be any type of pump, it's most likely going to pump between here, roughly in the 0.0047 area, do something like this, and then sell off, right? I do believe Turbo will look to retest a higher time frame like the 0.003435 area, because this is where all the big massive support is. Okay, so I do think there's going to be a little bit of retracement. Those that missed the premium buying opportunities, you will not be getting those opportunities in my opinion, but you will be able to get Turbo at a discount, right? Let's say from these highs all the way to roughly somewhere here, you'll be able to get a 41%, 35 to 45% discount from the last relevant highs before we continue moving up. Okay, these days of going lower and lower and lower are over, right? We had a couple of weeks, we had multiple weeks and multiple chances, right? When this crashed over here, right? We had, the end of this week, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. So 7 weeks, almost 2 months of premium, absolute premium deals, right? This is why I say you don't need to get the literal bottoms, because even if you bought somewhere over here, right? Sure, you didn't get the literal bottoms, but now your positions that you would have got it in, they're up 2 times the amount of money. And at one point, they're up almost 3 times the amount of money. So you put in 2 grand. Right now, you're currently sitting at $4,000 in profit. I mean, who doesn't like to see that, right? And the thing is, we know Turbo is going to continue pushing up higher. I mean, we literally broke structure, right? This was the structure we were competing for all the way down here. And I mean, we destroyed it. Then, like I said, the next zone was trying to close above here. We got above it, right? We got above it. We got above it very, very massively. But now we are looking, like I said, to close above it on the weekly. We're looking to be going sideways for some time. Now, here's the thing. When the markets move really fast, right, it could just go sideways for 2 or 3 days and then just continue pumping kind of the way it was. And that's it. I mean, that's it. The markets do not care nowadays as they used to. The markets years ago were actually much more different, much more fundamental. Now, like I said, I showed you guys certain zones where they might sell off a little bit. And I mean, literally just for a couple hours, right, off of this zone here, it sold off for like 1-2 hours. It sold off here for 5-6 hours, and it just pumped. It just does not care nowadays. The markets just move at super lightning speed. I even show you something like gold, right? I've been trading gold for years now, and this gold, I mean, literally on Tuesday at 2 o'clock was at $350 practically, and then just a couple of hours later it dropped almost $250. Unheard of. The momentum is so crazy in these markets. Stock market, 2 trillion gone today. The next day, 3 trillion added. They just don't care. The markets move at lightning pace, which is fantastic for us, right? It is super good, because that means we're going to be recovering quicker overall, right? Instead of maybe having a couple of weeks of sideways movement, it might just take a week, maybe a week and a half, maybe 3 days. I can't tell you 100%, but I will definitely be looking to, potentially add a small position over here. And, if you do feel like you missed out or you do want to buy this token, not a financial advisor, but somewhere in this green zone, once again, like the 0.003 to 0.0035 roughly is where I would be looking to be purchasing. And, I would expect Turbo to bounce up from there, right? It is not a coincidence that we got 750 million in volume, right? There's a big reason why we push all the way up to this zone like we did. It's because we are looking to start closing above this green box, so then eventually we can go higher and higher, right? Very simple. We needed a lot of momentum. We got the momentum. Now we just need the weekly candle to close. And then again, we're going to, slow down a little bit, maybe build fundamentally, and then we're going to pump probably very fast up until 0.008 area, right? We talked about it before. There is a big support and resistance here. So most likely the same thing will happen, right? We'll slow down, and then we'll gain some momentum, and then we're going to burst through. And then we are probably just going to slow down once again, which is fine. It doesn't matter. We are still on track. I know most people are happy. I literally see like 90, 95, 98% people happy. Some people are still complaining. I mean, I get it. If you bought all the way up here, you still might be worried and emotional, but there's literally nothing to, complain about, right? Your coin could be a different coin that never recovered. You should be grateful that your coin is recovering, because you remember the hard fact and reality is, even though Turbo is a great coin, it is a meme coin at the end of the day. Yes, it does have more value than other meme coins because it is branching out to other narratives. It is going to video games. They're doing real life stuff, the book, the shoes potentially, right? So it's adding real value. Okay, but like I said, the core of it, the big core of it, 80% plus, is still a meme coin. So you should be really, really grateful at the end of the day that you picked the right coin and that you took a gamble on the right coin. Because if this was like some other trash coin like Chill Guy, we would not be having this story right now. Remember, Chill Guy is in the dumps. Okay. Chill Guy is absolutely in the dumps right now. And I'm not always right, but I do have a high percentage of being right. And Chill Guy was one of those calls where I said, stay away. Just fundamentally, it does not make any sense to buy this coin. I mean, it pumped so damn fast. Within a couple of days, it was from like 1 million market cap up to almost 8 billion. That is unsustainable. That needs correction. And there's also so much controversy around this coin with the person that made the art, just Binance and some other stuff, that why would I get this coin? Why would I? This is the type of structure you try to stay away from. And drama in a coin, Turbo doesn't have drama. Turbo is chilling. So yeah, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy. Better days ahead with the Turbo coin. If you do want a portfolio review, or join a community for the latest information to stay up to date, make sure to join the Discord link in bio. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.